We start the day's other headlines in New York. There were dramatic scenes at an immigration court as the city's comptroller, Brad Lander, was arrested by federal agents.
Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens.
Video provided to the NewsHour by his campaign shows a group of ICE and FBI agents struggling with Lander as he tried to escort a migrant out of the building. Lander, who is also a candidate for mayor, is heard in the video repeatedly asking to see a judicial warrant before he's pushed into a wall and arrested by the agents who are not wearing uniforms or displaying badges. Immigration lawyers say warrants are not needed in immigration courts because they are public spaces. Lander was released several hours after his arrest. Meantime, a federal appeals court in California heard arguments today on whether the Trump administration can keep using National Guard troops to prevent protests and protect immigration agents in Los Angeles. The hearing by the three-judge panel came just days after a lower court ruled that Trump's use of the Guard was illegal and ordered those troops returned to California's state control. The Trump administration appealed that decision, saying it was within its rights to bypass Governor Gavin Newsom to maintain order.
Those guardsmen are necessary on the ground today to prevent breaches of the federal buildings, to protect ICE officers when they are conducting their law enforcement operations. The guardsmen are not conducting law enforcement. They are charged with a protective mission, not a law enforcement mission.
Meantime, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass lifted her curfew for parts of the city that were roiled by last week's protests against immigration raids. Turning now to the war in Gaza, Palestinian health officials say at least 51 people were killed and more than 200 others wounded as they waited for UN trucks bearing much-needed food.
This is not aid. This is an ambush. This is not aid. This is an ambush against the youth, not to feed them, but to kill them.
Eyewitnesses spoke of an Israeli airstrike and gunfire in the southern city of Khan Yunis. Israel's military acknowledged reports of several casualties and said they are investigating. Russian missiles and drones killed at least 15 people and injured more than 150 in Ukraine overnight, the vast majority of them in the capital city of Kyiv. Hours after the attack, firefighters were still struggling to put out blazes. Rescue teams searched through the rubble of crushed apartment buildings for survivors. Officials say it's the deadliest attack on the capital this year. As peace talks between the two countries falter, Ukraine says Russia has stepped up assaults on civilian areas. Kyiv's mayor declared that Wednesday will be a day of mourning.
Another attack by Russian barbarians. We hope that no casualties will be found under the rubble, but this cannot be guaranteed, and the number of dead may rise.
Meantime, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky secured $1.5 billion in new military aid from Canada's Prime Minister today. Zelensky has been trying to rally support from Western allies at the G7 summit. He was supposed to meet with President Trump today, but that was canceled after the president headed home early. Food giant Kraft Heinz announced today that it will remove all chemical dyes from its products by the end of 2027. The company says the shift will affect about 10% of its brands. That includes Kool-Aid and Crystal Light, plus Jell-O and other desserts and beverages that contain specific dyes. Kraft Heinz is the first company to announce such plans since Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said in April that his agency would work with companies on removing artificial dyes by the year 2026. On Wall Street today, stocks slipped after a weaker than expected report on U.S. retail sales. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell nearly 300 points on the day. The Nasdaq slipped nearly 200 points. The S&P 500 also closed in negative territory. Still to come on the NewsHour, pastors weigh in on the Trump administration's ongoing immigration raids, the nationwide risks posed by a rise in political violence, and what led to the mass resignation of the Fulbright Exchange Program's board.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein studio at WETA in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.